Hi, darlings. It's your host and MC tonight, Miss Iridescent. I'm super excited to be hosting our Nackte Christmas special. Okay, so it was supposed to come out Christmas Eve. I got sick. I wasn't able to release it or film the stuff we needed to finish it. So we are here actually on New Year's Eve. It's like 8 p.m.-ish at the Strip. We're on North Main in San Antonio, Texas. And I realized there was a through line. While we do talk about joy a lot, and what brings me joy is community, so we touch on that a lot. I also realized that almost every interview I did ended up talking about things that happened throughout the whole year and how important it was and how big of a year this was. So I decided we could release it on New Year's Eve. So I'm very excited. And first up, I'm very, very, very happy. This is our first time actually getting to sit and talk on camera. I got to interview Joe Boyd, owner of Camp Nackte and one of my dearest friends. Hi, I'm here with Joe Boyd, owner of Camp Nackte. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, here.
Thank you. We're filming it at home. I'm so happy. This is our third Christmas special. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. It feels like just yesterday whenever we were performing the very first Christmas special out at camp.
That was wild. That was a crazy endeavor, and it was so fast. We did it so fast.
We did it so fast. Which was a world of difference from the second Christmas special, if you guys haven't seen it.
Which was so long. It took so long to film. We started filming in September, and originally I wasn't going to be involved because of scheduling. I could not, I had a bunch of obligations I had to do, and I wasn't originally planned to be in it. And then, thankfully, y'all held back 2 weeks, and I was able to be in it, and I was like, oh my God.
That whole thing was an experience, but this year we decided to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a lot of interviews, but what we're focusing on is the joy of Christmas, how we're all getting through these troubling times. So let's talk about joy.
Exactly. I find joy in community, which is why I think highlighting different organizations that celebrate community are very important to me.
I love that idea.
Right? What made you want to start Camp Nackte?
What made me want to start Camp Nackte is noticing that Houston had a LGBTQI plus, an LG campground. And is that too much shade?
Now clock it.
Dallas had a gay campground. And we noticed that the valley was extremely underserved. And we started asking ourselves the question, why doesn't San Antonio and Austin have a gay campground? It was just a lack of investment in the LGBTQI plus community here in this part of Texas. It was very underserved, so we got to work and decided, well, let's make this happen.
I love that. It's fabulous. How long has Nackte been open officially?
So Nackte has officially been open for almost exactly 2.5 years at this point.
Doesn't it feel so much longer?
Oh my God, it does. So the first year that we were open, we were only kind of partially open. We would open for a weekend to test out the infrastructure, and then depending on how that went, we would be open the next weekend, or we'd have to close to fix some major infrastructure issue. So really last year was the first year that we opened for real. This year we've doubled the income from last year, and we've doubled the attendance from last year.
Yeah, it's been packed.
Yes, so this past summer we were slammed every single weekend without fail, starting mid-March to at least mid-August. And
it's been fabulous. All the events. Also, if you'd like to have your event message, Joe, he loves having different kind of events, and not even just gay events. We do lesbians and transgender events too. It really is for everybody. You will find every kind of person out there, and straight people you can come to, I guess.
So look, we have straight people, we have bi people, we have
everybody.
Yes, we have lots of transgender friends. There's something that happened recently in the state of Texas that if you are in the homosexual community, if you're in the LGBTQI community at all, you're welcome, I stole that from TikTok, then you will be familiar that one of the gay campgrounds here in the state of Texas decided to go full MAGA and ban trans people from their campground, including women. So when that first happened, for me, I was deeply saddened because I grew up in a big family. We didn't always live in great areas. Of course, growing up, there were bullies in our neighborhood. I could never imagine the level of cowardice that it would take for someone to push their smallest, weakest little baby brother and sister out into the street to be bullied, hoping that maybe the bullies will leave them alone by offering up the smallest member of your family. And that's exactly what it feels like to me, watching gay members of our community try to feed our trans brothers and sisters to the MAGA crowd and to the hateful crowds.
Like, we're not part of them.
Yeah, it exactly. That absolutely sickens me. One thing that we will never do at Camp Nackte, we will never not fully embrace and support and celebrate our trans brothers and sisters, including our lesbian brothers and sisters, and even our straight outlaws. We
Our
have
lesbian brothers?
Our
lesbian brothers and sisters.
I can think of one person right now off the top of my head that counts as a lesbian brother. So, look, we are there for the full spectrum. So, and all variations of it. It's kind of like this Star Trek, infinite combinations.
If you're a lesbian brother, comment
Look, if you're... I'm telling you, I have at least one person in mind too.
My God.
I would absolutely count as a lesbian brother.
Oh my goodness. So, with the holidays coming up, what are some of your favorite holiday traditions?
So, I didn't grow up with Christmas at all.
Yes.
I don't know anything about Christmas.
Yes!
And this is something Ira is always laughing about.
Yes!
The very first Christmas I ever did in my entire life was only 4 years ago. My baby sister moved in with me, and because I didn't grow up with Christmas, it wasn't a thing to me. So I just never did it. On Christmas Day, I was like, okay, well, I get a day off work. So my baby sister moved in with me and said, hey, I really want to do Christmas. I was like, okay. So we went out and we bought all the lights and the decorations, and we did the whole thing. I fell in love with Christmas.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I fell in love with this holiday. So now my two favorite holidays is October and Christmas. That's not a holiday.
Halloween. It's
Halloween and Christmas.
I like the Halloween season.
So at least, I don't know, 10 different times you've told me what days are Christmas.
Yes.
And I'm so confused by this. But I know that the day after Halloween, fuck Thanksgiving, because the day after Halloween, I'm putting up Christmas decorations, and I will be the joy of the season until February.
It was so funny working with him because, like, we came up with the concept for the Christmas specials, and we co-wrote the one last year, which, as you can hear him talk, if you watched it last year, it is written exactly like you speak, which is very funny to me. But trying to explain Christmas to Joe has been wild because, I don't know, you've got such good intentions, but just a very deep misunderstanding about everything, which is so funny because I think everybody who celebrates Christmas mostly has some sort of religious trauma related to it, or there's a religious basis for the frivolity and the commercialism. And you don't. So it's just like a celebration of the commercialism while also trying to understand why the religious part matters or makes sense, which is really funny. It's very funny to me.
The deep dive I did on the Charles Dickens novel, am I allowed to say the name?
Ooh.
The Charles Dickens novel.
Yes, he's dead.
Okay.
He's dead.
I don't know if it's like a
That's in the public domain.
Okay, I don't know if it's like a
He's been dead for quite a while. At least, what is it? Didn't he die in the like 1800s, early 1900s? He's been gone for a while.
Okay.
I don't think he'd mind. I think he'd be honored that we're still mentioning it.
Maybe possibly. So the deep dive I did on this, here's some crazy facts about that. So the whole story is centered around this working class guy who has a family, and he's working for pennies. His family's like on the verge of starvation at all times. Like, that is the whole point of the Cratchit story. Did you know that in today's dollars, Cratchit was actually making $32 an hour?
Yeah, I remember.
So that's how bad things are right now, and we all just kind of roll on because we can still afford McDonald's. That's crazy.
It's...
So I did this deep dive on Christmas, approaching it from this intellectual...
It made him very, very upset about a lot of things. It was very, I don't know, it's not cynical. Cynical's not the word, but concerned. It was a very adorable concern, because it's like the stuff we're like, oh yeah, Tiny Toon's sick, and da-da-da. And you're like, he was actually going to die because they couldn't afford his health care, and they couldn't do it back then. Like, the amount of logic you were putting into it was so funny.
Yeah, I feel like I was missing the point. I think this year I'm doing better, though.
Well, because this year we kind of wanted to do a Christmas special like this. The first year we wanted to incorporate more interviews, but just scheduling was a nightmare. And even with this, I mean, I'm thankful for everyone we've been able to interview. But what was it? You kept having, there had to be a political theme.
Right.
Every
there was a
Christmas
lot
special.
I needed to say.
But I was like, the first year, sometimes things just need to be frivolous. And he's like, but the message, what's the message? And I was like, Christmas? But what Christmas? Christmas is the message.
Without having that appreciation for Christmas or that concept of Christmas, I wasn't getting that Christmas is the event. Christmas is the message.
Yeah.
Like, that is the point. And I kept asking, well, wait, but what's the point? Like, I'm not understanding.
Which, I don't know. It's very hard to explain. I loved it. Y'all out there probably get it. So, No Man is an Island. Who would you like to shout out for assisting with camp as much as possible?
100% my husband, Dalvis. He has been my rock and my right-hand man ever since day one. Our first date was at Camp Nackte. We had met up, and I told him, like, look, I would love to go on a second date with you. But unfortunately, like, I just bought this campground, and I need to dig ditches and cut down trees and make a road. And so he offered to help. So we had met up very briefly once, but he said, well, why don't we just go out there for an actual real first date? And I tried to explain to him, like, well, this is not a good first date because we're going to be working in the hot sun probably for 18 hours, cutting trees out of the forest and dragging them up. Like, it's a lot of hard work and manual labor, and there's no water out there or electricity, so we can't even shower after a whole day working in the sun. And he said, no problem. And he showed up and he worked with me for the next year and a half, multiple days a week. Like, that level of laborious sweat, blood, and tears.
No small undertaking. They built everything out there. They very rarely had somebody come. I think maybe somebody came and did the pool.
So they installed the pool.
But that was like...
And all the rest of it was just me and Dallas out there. I'm talking sweat, blood, and tears. So after a year and a half of this, I finally just admitted to myself, like, okay, apparently this man really loves me. Because I don't know if any of you gays of a certain age, but by 47, I had just given up on that altogether. And then finally, after about a year and a half, I said, well, apparently this guy really loves me. Like, anybody who's putting in this much work, like, there's only one reason that you would do that. And so I put a ring on it, and we've been married ever since. Yeah, so Camp Nackte started out as a labor of love. And it still is. The second person that I would love to shout out is Corey Dodd. Camp Nackte would not be what it is today without Corey Dodd. About 6 months in, I was completely overwhelmed, and I was on the verge of giving up. It was just, Camp Nackte is a big undertaking. A lot of people don't comprehend this. And then Corey Dodd just kind of came out of nowhere and just took the reins. And yeah, absolutely fantastic.
He's the on-site operations manager. He's there almost
he's doing every job imaginable,
and he also has another job too. So he not only makes sure that camp is up and running, does repairs, does whatever he needs to do, but he also still does his own stuff.
Right, yeah, he still does his real
so impressive.
Job. Yeah.
Like, and he builds stuff and decorates. And,
so all of it, anything out there you see that's built with wood, like those pretty picket wood.
Yeah, the fence.
Yeah, the picket fencing wood. That's all Corey Dodd. He built all of that, and he does it super fast. The doors to the bathroom stalls. I'm talking just like everything.
He's incredible. I love Corey.
Fantastic.
I can't say enough nice things about him. I adore him so much.
And then a third person I'd like to shout out just really quick is Arthur Valverde. Arthur Valverde is who helped me get camp up and running from like the business side of the house and carried it through that first 6 months. One of my better friends. I love him.
I love it. It's that No Man is an Island. It takes a team.
It does. It takes a team.
And it's like, for all of y'all who have been out there, I hope you continue to have fun and enjoy it because I love it there. It's my favorite place to go.
Just more to that point, the guest. We wouldn't exist without the guest. Every one of you who go to Camp Nackte and enjoy it out there, we do this for you. And if you weren't showing up, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly. So, and these specials, we have a lot of fun making them, but I know that some people aren't always, you may not always have family to go to for the holidays, or you might not even like, maybe you're sick and you're just stuck at home and so you can't be around people, but it's just a little bit for us to be with you, and we care about you and we love you, and yeah, nobody needs to be alone on the holidays unless you want to be, but just some frivolous stupidness for you to enjoy. So
Ira here is my chosen family. I don't actually have any contact with my biological family, with most of my biological family. So whenever it comes to the holidays, especially after I started celebrating the holidays, my chosen family is everything to me. So being able to be here with you during these holidays in this intimate environment. Coming into my kitchen.
I know.
And doing this, I can't say I love you enough.
Joe, I love you so much. Thank you always for being a champion of me. He has been such a huge supporter, and I love him so much. I'm so glad I got to know him. Up next, we go all the way to Crossroads Mall, where I got to stand and talk to the fabulous Jasper St. James, who has always been a huge burlesque inspiration for me. I love him so much. He started You Better Walk, the Queer Walking Club. So let's go check in with him right now. Hi, Jasper. How are you?
Hi, man. I'm good. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. It's almost time.
It's time, baby.
Oh, my God. So where are we?
We are at the Wonderland of Americas, a.k.a. Crossroads Mall, and we're here for the You Better Walk Queer Walking Club meetup.
Oh, my goodness. What is You Better Walk?
It is a queer walking club open to all queer folks, but also to allies as well. But we meet up every Monday and we go for a walk and just get our steps in, be in community, and have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to start You Better Walk?
I went for a walk one day after work, and I was just having a really shitty day at work. Found out I was going to lose my job, all that stuff. It was terrible. The world is terrible right now.
Yeah.
And I went for a walk. It was super calming and just super relaxing. And I was like, you know what? I feel like if I'm going through this, other people are probably can relate and feel the same way. So I went for a walk, and I put it out to social media, being like, would anyone want to come on a walk with me? And then turns out a lot of people did. And so here we are, almost coming up to a year later.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
Because I remember there was a time when, because it ended up being weekly, and you were like, we're going to do it every other week. We're going to do it.
Yeah. I literally was like, we can do this, huh?
Mariah's here.
She's here. She's arrived. No, I know. I remember when I started, I said, oh, this will be like every other week or once a month, and it's every Monday now.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's a great place to meet people outside of bars. It's lovely to have sober spaces for people because not everyone be drinking.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to get fresh air and to go do something there. It's not like, well, let's go see a movie. It's because that can be so interpersonal.
Yeah.
But like here you can talk to people and
absolutely
mingle and see
make
everybody.
new friends, and like, you know, you find something in common with somebody, and it's just like, it's really cool to just a simple walk can do that.
I know.
So
the mayor came to your walk. The mayor advertised at your walk.
Yeah,
That's
she
where
did.
She was.
Yeah, that's where she was.
I think that was like my second or third time going, because I went a few times. I used to go all the time.
She was an avid walker.
And then I had to stop because it was my only day of
Well,
rest.
you injured yourself.
Oh, that too. Yeah, I forgot about that. That would always happen.
She's like, I forgot about that.
Well, I injured myself last week. We are just back into you. Gang, take care of your health.
Yes, period.
Oh. Lord. No, but I think it's wonderful because it's so cool to see so many different faces from the community, because there are all the people that you see out in the bars. There's a bunch of influencers, which that doesn't mean something successful, but they all happen to be your friend too. And so it's really cool because it's like, it's real? Y'all's friendship is real?
And it's really a melting pot. Like, people always ask, like, what's the age group for people to come to a walk? I'm like, literally, I get people I have parents who bring their children who want to be in community, and like, it's such a huge range, and I love that. Like, it just, like you said, it's an alternative to going to a bar or just nightlife in general. Like, this is a fun activity that anyone can do. If you're able to walk, you can come out and meet some people and have some fun.
And you make it very accessible. So you say, we're gonna walk a mile, but at this point, if you don't want to walk the whole way, you can walk back.
Oh,
and
totally.
It's to anyone's space and speed to how they feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell everyone, like, listen to your body. Like, you don't have to complete it. Like, do what's best for you. Like, it's not about how many steps you take. It's just like you showed up for yourself. You know, that's the most important part.
You walked to some really cool places. I remember we got to go to an art exhibit once after. Yeah. You've had like a bunch. What was the one that you did? Was it last week that y'all had like an event or something after?
Oh, we've done several events like throughout. Like, we have our club night outs, which are not walks, and we just get to hang out and be with each other. And then we also do post-walk meetups where we can go and support a local queer-owned business or go and do something fun. Like, it's really such about like building community. So it's really awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, I know. Stay tuned for 2026 because we have some really fun stuff coming.
Now we're gonna power walk.
Yeah, it's power walking. It's no longer just walking.
There's pets. Most of the time, there's lots of pets, and they're lovely. And
they're welcome.
So
there's service animals inside a building, but otherwise, if they're on a leash, they're totally more than welcome. And children are welcome as long as they're accompanied by an adult or legal guardian.
Exactly. This is not a daycare.
No, not at all.
Lord.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to about Christmas or the holidays?
This is actually my first Christmas where I will be staying in San Antonio.
Okay.
So this will be my first Christmas in coming up to 20 years that I'll be spending Christmas in San Antonio. So I'm excited.
It's so beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful than San Antonio at Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed I'm not going to be with my family, but I think it'll be really fun to just kind of.
You're chosen family.
Exactly. Period. That part. That's why I'm like, I get to go and do fun stuff and just like hang out.
Stuff.
Literally. I'll go to Camp Nackte.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So where can we find you on the social medias?
You can find me at Jasper St. James on Instagram and TikTok.
And what other kind of events do you have coming up? Because I know you teach you have a very special teacher's license.
I am. I'm a certified sex educator and sex coach, and yeah, I do workshops every month. And so we just did our one for December, and then come January we have a whole new year planned of sex positive workshops for everyone.
Good.
I'm excited.
I love that. Sex should be fun, darlings.
Yes.
You can never learn too much. Even those who know everything, you can always learn something new.
You never stop learning.
Well, I love you so
I love
much.
you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Yes.
For
Happy holidays.
Jasper is incredible. He is such an amazing talent. Make sure you check out his sex education courses at the Raw Raw Room or wherever he chooses to have them. It's fabulous. Up next, we talk to the owner and founder of Spectragular, which highlights drag all over Texas. And I love this next entertainer so much because she's not only an amazing friend, but also my drag daughter. So let's go touch with Duvalin. I'm here with the creator and founder of Spectragular, Miss Duvalin.
That's me, the sweetest piece of Mexican candy you'll ever meet.
Baby, this is my third time interviewing you, and every time you've been out of drag.
Every single time.
That's consistent.
Consistency is the key to a wonderful life.
That part. Speaking of wonderful, are you excited for the holiday season?
Oh, I'm so excited to get drunk.
Okay.
Because if there's one thing Jesus brought us into this world, is to drink. He turned water into wine. So it's time to get drunk.
So, what exactly is Spectragular? I've asked you this before, but for our new audience members.
Spectragular is an organization, a local organization, that is organized to organize events.
So organize again.
To organize. No, in reality though, Spectragular is an organization that I created because I wanted to uplift all types of drag, no matter the age, drag style, or experience that drag is. That they
Age. So you recently had the second annual Spectragular Awards. What was that and how did it go?
I thought it went fabulous. It is my favorite event I've done as of now, because I was able to see so many drag artists from all over Texas. There was from Houston, Austin, San Marcos, El Paso. You know, we're reaching far and wide in Texas with Spectragular, and it's my favorite thing because we're not reaching out promising anything other than we are here to support you. We're here to uplift you. And I think that is really what community is at the end of the day, you know? I created this because I saw that there is a disconnect within even just the community here in San Antonio. And I feel like as the years have gone by, the past 4 years, since Spectragular has been a thing, it's gotten closer together with new drag artists coming up. And I feel like with everything happening in the news, in the government, I feel like a lot of us need to band together city-wise with all of our drag artists because we are more powerful together than we are separate. And they're able to attack us more easily if we are separated in our own different regions.
It was a leading question because I had the honor of co-hosting, which is my second year co-hosting the Spectragular Awards. Third time, because it started as a gala.
A gala.
And I co-hosted that too. I'm the co-host of Spectragular.
Trust.
But I think it was fabulous. I'm very proud of you. I think that it was such a beautiful night. The emotions were high. The vibes were immaculate. The award winners were wonderful. Even the nominees who didn't win, they were still happy to be there. It was so much fun, and I think that what y'all don't realize is Duva does this all by herself. Well, this year she had help with my niece, Miss Rosita Thorne. She is the second ever possible board member for Spectragular.
Possibly.
Not possible, she is.
She
is on the
basically
board.
is.
But other than that, it's no small undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it seems so well thought out, and people are just like, yeah, this is what events should be, and nobody really realizes it because you don't know that an event's not going to be great until you notice things without it. There was not a single thing that wasn't already thought of or accounted for, that we were easily able to identify, because you did it all, because you're a fabulous event planner.
Thank you. I try. I really wanted to make this event. This is my biggest event that I do every year, and I just want, like, there's people coming from out of town for this. I want this event to be respectful for everyone who comes. I don't want any people coming and be like, that sucked. Why did I waste my gas money to come here? Because gas prices can be a lot, especially if you're coming from a far. Like, if you're not even in San Antonio, it takes an hour to leave San Antonio sometimes. Like, I just wanted this event to be worth it for people who are coming from out of town as well.
Well, and like as last year, if y'all know, there was some drama that happened before last year's event, not related to Duva. It was 2 drag families that were fighting, and they were both nominated for Family of the Year. They both came out in droves to support, and not a single thing happened because of the respect I feel they have for you, because they're not gonna make you look crazy and play in your face.
I hope not. Well, my favorite also thing about this Drag Awards is that it's in San Antonio. This is where I grew up. This is where I started drag. And this is where I see the most drag artists every day, because I am here. And every day I try to go out as many shows as I can. I also work a full-time job with kids, so it's very draining. So I try to go to as much as I can and support as much as I can. And what I want my San Antonio community to know is that I support them, I love them, I respect them. There is not anyone I don't respect in drag here in San Antonio. I want to make sure that you are seen, and because it sucks sometimes. So there's so many show producers here in San Antonio, and I know it sucks when you produce a show and either no one shows up or no one's tipping or the crowd's weird. And so that's why I try to show up and just be what I would presume what I would want in a show, in the audience.
Yeah, and if you ever feel like, oh, I want to go see the show, but I don't have any money. I mean, we get it. We get it, trust. Like, we like to go see too. Sometimes you just being in the audience is the difference between a girl getting paid or not. And I know that's such a weird thing to say, but literally, if there's no crowd, the girls don't get paid for certain shows. So you just being there, even without tipping, helps make sure that people have employment and have their jobs. So if you can't tip, be attentive, have fun, follow them, share them on Facebook or Instagram and Facebook, I am old, or Instagram or wherever, and just support them digitally, because it's the best thing you can do. Think of drag queens as small businesses. It's so important to put your money back into the community. The Drag Race girls are fabulous, but the only local drag queen we have that's from Drag Race is Georges.
Who's that?
Some little girl. My sister, your auntie, who did your makeup for the Spectacular Awards. How was that?
It was very wonderful to see myself in what I would call pretty makeup, because Georges paints fabulous, and I've never painted very like.
You're beautiful. I think you've gotten much better.
I've gotten so much better. I agree. But I've never painted like that. Like, I feel like she paints very femme, very like, it's still drag, but very like muggy. And to see myself in that really changed the way I view my own makeup and my own face and things I want to improve on myself and how I want to see myself. And she built that confidence in me just by doing that. And I have so much respect for her. I always did, always have, but just being there and to just, just to call her a friend as well. Like, she means a lot.
She's a singular talent. Like, I've known her since she was little, like 16, and she has been one of a kind, unique. Some people just have it, and she is so special and so talented that everything she has been, it's not just like given to her, it's really, really deserved, and she puts the work into it. And Natasha and I always say, our sister, your other auntie, always say that the reason we don't really get that excited about Drag Race anymore is because our sister got on. And that was the most exciting, unless it's one of us or like Layla or Teresa, I don't really care. Like, if you got on, I'd be excited. But our sister got on and did incredible and became one of RuPaul's favorites. Like, I'll never forget seeing the promo of her and almost crying because we were at my friend's place. And it was just like, oh my God. Because it's just like, you get so happy for people. And you have that kind of it factor too, where you're so charming. Because hers is, it's like, oh wow, she can do all this crazy stuff. But with you, it is you. Like, there are people who can kind of perform like Georgia's not really, because like I said, she's a singular talent. But like, and there are people who can kind of perform like you, but nobody has the personality that you have, and the warmth and the actual attentiveness. You're a very present person.
Thank you. And I'm so happy to hear your compliment.
Of course, I love you.
Because it just makes me know that I'm working to something I'm at the place where I've always wanted to be, where I've worked so hard for.
You're very impressive, and I hope you see it too, because like, you do all this work, and I sometimes we can second guess ourselves or worry that well, we could have done more, because we could have always done more, but we also could have done less, and we don't. There's a certain quality to all of your events that you do that I really admire, because it's consistent across the board. You're very fair. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. I will say, when it comes to the events that I put up, I always try to make sure that my name is not attached to it. I've actually removed myself from promos and stuff because I want it to be like, this is the Spit Dragula show. And every time you hear me talk about it on stage and stuff, I always say, it's not my show, it's Spit Dragula's. I make sure to mention that it is for us in the community, because it is y'all who are here doing the show. Because without y'all, I would just be a little girl in a room just making flyers, you know?
So, certain entertainers have thought that we should keep the Spectacular Awards San Antonio only based. How do you feel about that?
I understand where they're coming from. There's so much talent here in San Antonio that doesn't get recognized. There's a lot of aspects here in San Antonio which makes us separated from each other. There's so many, like, if you are working on the Strip, you basically know everybody at the Strip. But there's people who don't work on the Strip, and it feels like they are separated from the rest of the San Antonio scene. And I recognize that, I see it, and I would love to work on something that brings us more together. But the awards themselves has always been for everybody. And I don't want it to be exclusive to San Antonio, because at the end of the day, I'm not just a San Antonio. Personally, myself, I'm not just a San Antonio drag artist. I've done drag for many years in San Marcos, and that's something for me I can never let go. It helped me be where I am now, and I don't want to like separate them. And then separating them would mean if I include them but not everybody else, then it's like, why not? You know?
Exactly. And I think that San Marcos, while it may be like, it's literally right between Austin and San Antonio, and San Marcos has had some struggles with the like venues. When Stonewall closed, that was a big thing. And then just trying to keep the gigs alive. And I said it at the Spectacular, and I'd like to say it here too. I'm so proud to each and every San Marcos entertainer who continues to fight and carve out a space for San Marcos drag, because it is a small town, but it's still like, the scene is alive and thriving.
That's where many drag artists have gotten their
Mars,
start.
Like Mars from Austin.
Yeah.
Mars, May Magdalene, Tequila Rose,
Aria Ray. On top of that, like, I think the San Antonio scene, there's so many things already happening here. There's a lot more competitions, a lot more open stages than there were last year. There's a lot more shows, a lot more show directors, and it's not that it feels oversaturated, it's that we need to figure out how to come together as one city. I don't think the Spirit Dragula Awards is the right event for that, because it's always, there are now award shows. The Britses is very one of my favorite award drag shows here in San Antonio. They run by Miss Tony Taylor Andrews and Augie Spears. and this is another side story. When I started the Spectacular Awards, Britzes was already a thing happening for many years. I messaged Tony and Augie, and I basically asked for their blessing because I did not want to compete against them. I wanted us to be, what's the word? When you're like...
Y'all can both exist in the same space without stepping on each other's toes.
Exactly.
And I feel like y'all are very different. There are very different categories between Britzes and Spectacular. Like, you don't have best top or best bottom.
But we all know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the same person.
Sometimes it's the same person. But there's other events that are happening that bring San Antonio closer together, and I feel like the Spectacular Awards is a Texas thing. There's no way to reduce it from what it already was, because my goal has always been to make it bigger and better. And I feel like if I make Spectacular Awards San Antonio only, it would just defeat the purpose of why it started.
I am excited to see what you have planned for next year. Do you have things already in the works?
We do. So me and basically my co-chair, Rosita Thorne, this is going to be exclusive, are working on a zine, a Spectacular zine.
Ooh.
Which we're gonna release a monthly zine every month with limited copies. It's an online zine, but we will have physical copies, very limited amounts. The first one is going to be about the Spectacular Awards. Miss Ira here and Miss Christy are going to have a half a page spread about their night there, as well as our other hosts for the red carpet, Jocelyn Breezy and little baby Stella. And then we're gonna have a full page on the two big awards of the night. Bloody Blush because they won Drag Race of the Year, and Flame Games because they won Drag Show of the Year.
Yes.
So I'm very excited for that. I'm excited to see how it turns out because I've always wanted to do something else other than shows and a competition, because I feel like there's so many shows, so many competition, and I'm like, what else is different but also viable to bring the community together? And I feel like this is one of those avenues I want to explore.
I love that.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, we want to interview different people. We want to make sure every zine has a theme, so we can interview the right drag artists for that month. So I'm excited.
I love that. I'm excited. I'll have to learn how to read for that. But I'm so proud of you, not only as a friend and a drag mother, but I adore you as a person, and I'm very proud to know you and for you to be in my life. And I also want to say publicly thank you so much for everything you have done as far as helping me. I could not have done Drag Survivor without you, because you were there almost every week. The only time I wasn't in the top was when you weren't there. But like, literally, your assistance and your friendship has meant the world to me. Well, not even assistance, just your friendship has meant the world to me. So I'm excited to see what you do, and I'm excited to help in any way I can. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I love Spectacular. I love my community. I did this because you asked me, and I will always say yes, or mostly say yes to the things you ask.
Yeah. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. What? Yeah. I love her so much. You don't understand. Duva was my rock during Drag Survivor, and I could not have done it without her. I appreciate her so much. Next, we sit down and talk with three of my favorite people in the world to talk about the San Antonio Leathermen, as well as a bunch of different organizations that we wanted to highlight. So let's go hear from Shade, Patch, and Toast. Hi, I'm here with Toast and Patch and Shade of the Texas Leathermen. How are y'all doing, boys?
Great.
Wonderful. You look fabulous. I love your outfits.
Thank you. I made this one.
You made this?
I made the jacket and the pants.
Okay. Oh, are you excited for Christmas and the holidays?
Absolutely.
It's gonna be so much fun. If you hear pitter patter of feet, it's the elves getting ready for Christmas.
Me and Toast have been working at the Artisan Bar for a Christmas special thing that they're doing all this month.
Okay.
We've been pouring drinks for an elf-related show.
Aw, that's so cute. I love Artisan. And what have you been up to? What are you getting ready for the holidays?
I've been working on sewing, trying to get some patterns, and also a lot of photography.
Oh, I love it. I didn't know you did photography.
Yeah. There's some photos I took at Nackte last year that came out really well, and I'm getting back into film, so I broke out my camera yesterday.
Love! I love to hear that. So y'all are part of the Texas Leathermen. What are the Texas Leathermen?
Well, it's the San Antonio Leather.
Yeah.
Well, we're support of a lot of different organizations. Like we have a lot of interchangeability between what we're doing. Upcoming, we got RGB Leather Weekend down in McAllen, which is we do our leather thing all over Texas. So beyond San Antonio, we are our roots in. We have our fingers in the in McAllen, in Houston, in Dallas, in Austin. I'm part of Texas Leather Society and these guys as well. And so that kind of seeks to encompass all of Texas, but we also do our own stuff in the community alongside of the San Antonio Leathermen locally. Recently I got to do some nonprofit work with Hug Me Inc., which is a new nonprofit that we were just introduced to, which was really cool because I just got to give out gifts to kids all day.
Love.
So to answer your question, the San Antonio Leathermen is a social club that was started in San Antonio almost 3 years ago by a small group of leather interested folks, and it started out just being like they met up and would just do sort of small parties and that kind of thing, and now it's got about almost 150 people in it. They are associated with, but it's not an official event, the Kinky Carnival, which is our deer night that happens in San Antonio every month.
And that's at Sparks, right?
Right. So I got involved in it. I went to the Kinky Carnival at some point, and Joey, the current president of the San Antonio Leathermen, sort of appeared out of the darkness and said, "Hey, you want to join this club?" I was like, "Okay, yeah," and it turned out to be fantastic. So we've all been involved for almost since the inception of the Leathermen. And I'm a historian. These guys are mere normal members, peons, as I call them.
Okay.
They do a lot of stuff. We all volunteer for the Leathermen in all sorts of different ways, and travel with them a lot of times to different events. And yeah, that's what they are now.
Ever since we've joined the Leathermen, we've been busy doing things, volunteering, working, doing pageants, participating in every way we can, and it's just been a blast.
So how does somebody get involved with the San Antonio Leathermen?
I think the easiest way is to go to one of our events. We have social every month. It's usually the third Thursday, right? Third Thursday of the month, and those are open to the general public. So if you come in, have fun with us, meet some people, and our current president, Joey, is always super nice. He likes to get people involved, and our future president, Barbara Bear, I'm sure is probably going to continue that. So.
And where do y'all have those? Do you move them around, or?
They move around a little bit. Most of the time they're at Artisan Distillery.
Mm-hmm. In the back?
In the back room, which currently is decked out in Christmas stuff. But, by next month will not be.
A lot of queer-friendly spaces that move around to IK Chula sometimes. We've been to...
let's be honest.
MCC?
Heat.
MCC? Do we have something at MCC?
We had a meeting here.
Okay.
Woodlawn Point?
Woodlawn Point.
Woodlawn
I
Point's
remember.
great to... sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
At Woodlawn Point, we just learned is a queer community center.
Yes.
It's like serving everyone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
doing the Lord's work in the
Thank
best
you,
way
Gilbert.
possible.
A funny story. I was getting ready for a show that I was going to play piano at, and I like to rehearse on the instrument I'm actually going to play at because it was going to be at Woodlawn. I messaged Gilbert, and I had done it a few times. May I come rehearse? He said, sure. And he said there was an event that was going to end around like 6 or 7, just come after that. And then I show up looking like Fortune Feimster in my little hoodie, and it's the butt doctor, Dr. Carlton, with all the Leathermen and Living Positive there learning about anal sex. And it was such a funny thing to walk in, and Mark goes, they're learning about the butt. You can learn. And I was like, I'm very well familiar with the butt. And I was like, I wasn't expecting it, because I thought, they're just going to have like a little community organization or meeting. And it's very cool. One of my favorite centers in San Antonio, because it's just so great for the community.
And that's one of the best places to hold most of our members at this point, because we've grown so enormous.
I know.
Which is super unexpected.
He was awesome to hang out with and just very informative, and it brought people together. We had an opportunity to have a bunch of vendor spaces to volunteer everything going on in San Antonio.
He was one of my judges at IML this year. So,
Okay.
So I had met him during that. And I'm sure you saw, he had a leather scrubs.
Oh,
outfit.
yes.
So cute.
It was fabulous, because at first I was like, what is that? I was like, of course it's leather. That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But at first it took me, I don't know, walking up to what you think is going to be like either people leaving or an empty space, and then just seeing a bunch of people clad in leather listening to stuff about the butt. It's just not something you can prepare for. And I'm no prude by any form of imagination. But I was like, love. I wish I would have come earlier.
That's one of the great joys of this community is you never know what you're going to find in these events, and they're always welcoming and just like, hey, come on in, see this strange thing that we're doing.
Shout out to Sir Rat for making those leather scrubs and just being present in the community. I don't know if you're gonna interview anyone from there, but the Sir Rat people have been awesome.
I love
just
Sir
a
Rat.
constant presence in the community and just being a resource for everybody.
Yeah.
I may not have to put this in, but I think I'm working with Sir Rat for. You'll have to come out this year. You'll see what we're talking about later when I can talk about it officially, but I'm hosting this really cool thing. Save the date for Valentine's Day next year. I'm super excited. So
we three did a like a kink demo at the Z with Sir Rat at some point.
can y'all connect me to somebody at the Z? Because I would want to do a drag show just to say that I did it. Just me. I don't care. I just want to perform while people are fucking. That is my literal. I've always wanted to perform at a bathhouse.
Mhm.
I wanted to do it at ACI because the space was cool. I just want to do it at the Z just so I can tell people I performed at the bathhouse.
Make sure you wear some UV reflective outfits because they've got that
Exactly.
Laser Quest style in there where it's a.
I'll just wear black and let the guys make me UV.
There you go.
Jackson Pollock.
I would love the opportunity to, even mention the vast amount of organizations that we've worked with throughout Texas, from the RGB Bears in McAllen who work with the Valley AIDS Council to Camp Nackte doing a lot of outreach, to San Antonians here, the San Antonio Leathermen working with the Beat AIDS, to Grace Place in Houston and the Houston Misfits, to the Fire Dancers up in Dallas. We have just been really lucky to interact with so many different organizations that are working with different charities and nonprofits to promote safety and vetting and just good, healthy community. I think people forget there's not really a goal in community and that maintaining and existing is success in this sense.
It's supposed to always be there. It's supposed to be a safety net for us to exist while the world is going crazy. And it's so good to know that, like, you're not alone and there's places you can reach out with like-minded people to hang out with and feel a little relaxed and like everything will be okay. Because trust, things have been a little crazy lately. We're in the weirdest timeline.
I feel like it's been worse and worse in this year when you would think that people would be kind of like getting together, but I think it's the pressure of just like the general outlook and the way our country is currently is just making everybody crazy.
But it makes me want to push back against the whole, well, I'll move out of Texas. No, I am a Texan. I like Texas. I like San Antonio. I'm not leaving because you don't like me. And I'm not saying you have to make special accommodations for me to be who I am, but you won't tell me that I don't live here and that I was born here, bitch, and I'm not going nowhere. And that's why it's so important to come to these events, especially if you feel shy or disenfranchised or you just want to be around people. Even if you're shy, if you go, trust, Toast talks to everybody. Toast meets everybody. And if Toast won't do it, Rodrigo will.
That's for sure.
Rodrigo's never met a stranger. Ever. And so I just think it's very important. So come out to the events. Where can we find y'all on social media?
I am ScoutShade555 on Twitter. That's the spicy one. On Instagram, I'm ShadeSATX. And on Facebook, I am ScoutShadeSATX. So I'm on all those.
On Facebook and Instagram, I am Patch Bale. That's Patch short for Patrick, and Bale as in Teddy Bale, B-E-A-W.
I love that so much. That's so cute.
And I'm Willie Toast across all platforms from Pinterest to Discord. And I'm really excited to bring up that we are going to be going down to RGB Leather Weekend. It's our next project coming up as a group. That's what we've got coming on. And
It's in February.
I keep in February 6th weekend. I do bring up the Valley a lot because it's super important to our culture here in Texas, but also this event happens right on the border. So getting to interface with the people of Mexico and sometimes get to bump elbows with those people is really cool and an opportunity to spread out even further than Texas.
And the valley's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Where is it in the valley?
McAllen.
There's a place
Brownsville.
downtown. McAllen downtown, they have fabulous fabric places. But they have this restaurant called Maria's, which has the best carne asada I've ever had in my life. It looks like it's barbacoa. It's just, it's so good.
Tell me about the fabric places.
Oh yeah, no, they're literally around the corner. Just run around. I don't even know the name, but just literally find Maria's and then you just walk. Just walk around. I went with Rico Cavalli down there. He's an entertainer. He's one of the most fabulous seamstresses ever, and I think he's so hot. Rico, you're not going to see this, but I love you. And I would like to love you.
Well, if you follow any of us on our social media, we have a discount code for RGV Leather Weekend. So if you want to come down,
SARGV26 to save 10%. You come down and see us in the valley.
we're official ambassadors.
We
to
run
RGV
the
Leather
volunteer for San Antonio, and we'll be running the coat check at the parties in the evening.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank y'all so much for being here. I love y'all so much.
We fucking love
Adore
you.
you.
You're amazing. You got a whole theater I've named after you.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so don't touch the button. I'll kill you. That's making it in the thing. Okay, goodbye, darling. I love them so much. Getting to know them throughout the years has been fabulous because they're just wonderful. Oh my god. And as with all the other interviews, the full-length interview will be posted on the YouTube channel in its entirety at a later date. Now, up next was a huge treat. Our final interview of the evening, I got to sit down with James and Philip of Pride San Antonio to talk about everything going on with the crosswalk. Now, this interview is a bit longer because there's a bunch of misinformation going around about the crosswalk and what's happening. And so I wanted to make sure there was, without a shadow of a doubt, proof or evidence about what's going on. So I hope you enjoy this. Hi darlings, I'm here with James and Philip, my darlings, from San Antonio Pride. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good.
We're doing well. Thank you for asking.
Anything exciting going on, or has everything kind of been normal and uneventful?
Kind of normal and uneventful. We were downtown just now, and it was kind of dead down there a little bit.
Tell me a little bit about Pride San Antonio. How long has it been around, and what do y'all do?
So it's been around for 23 years, and it started as an organization called Gay Pride SA. And it was, done in what's now Sparky's used to be the Silver Dollar. And in that parking lot right in front of Sparky's, that's where it was, in that one little parking lot right there. And there was about maybe 10 vendors and equal as many people in the parade, 10 vendors, 10 parade entries. And so the parade was over in 10 minutes. You could blink an eye and the parade was over. But then we grew out of that parking lot and we grew around the back of Heat, and then across Evergreen, and then we ended up in Crockett Park because we just filled up all that space around the front of Knockout and what was the Saint at the time, and then around the back side of Heat, and we ended up moving over to Crockett Park, and so we've been at Crockett Park since around 2010, and so now our parade is sometimes longer than LA Pride's parade. So
okay, because I remember I want to say my first Pride Parade that I ever went to was 2012 or 2013. It was one of those. I went there, I looked like a lesbian because I had this big blonde mohawk, like platinum blonde mohawk, cut off shorts. It was wild. And I was just sitting there because my friend went to go, my friend Nick, love you Nick, I went to go be with his boyfriend at the time, and I was just kind of vibing because, Pride is an all-day event, and because we got there at early, and this was probably 5 or 6 p.m., so I was exhausted, and I was sitting there, and I didn't know her at the time. It was Autumn comes up to me and said, "Hey, you come hold a sign." And so I got to be in the parade my first time going to see it. And so there's a picture of me holding some sign, but I just look like the biggest lesbian ever. And ever since then, I have been in every single Pride Parade. So my first time going, I got to be in it, and it's one of my favorite events because it's fabulous. It's hot, but it's fabulous.
Well, I mean, and that was all that we did for a while, but then we eventually expanded. We had a charity softball tournament that would happen every year during Pride Month, and eventually in 2015 we turned that charity softball tournament into a softball league. So now we have a Pride softball league, and this year we had a team that won the Gay Softball World Series. So we have national recognition now. For softball, and then back around 2013, I believe it was 2013, we started the San Antonio Q Fest LGBT International Film Festival.
Yes, I remember hearing about it. Is it still held at the City Base Cinema?
Yes, it is. And one of the things that we started doing is we really started having not only a theme for each year, but we also had to have something that was going to be kind of our moniker as to what we wanted people to know about Pride and that. And so we have our mission statement is facilitate the needs of individuals so they can facilitate the needs of the community. And so what we really feel strongly about is that we want to empower individuals as well as organizations to how can we make our community better, stronger, and then also, be a bigger part of San Antonio, because being gay and growing up, we isolate ourselves because we think protecting ourselves is isolating and being within our own community. But what we come to realize as we grow older is everybody really knows who we are. They identified who we were. They identified our significant others, and they always accepted us. It was just us having enough heart and bravery to say, this is who I am. So now with Pride, we always feel very comfortable that the fact that we do have a seat at the table and that we always do raise our voice to say, this is not only who we are as LGBTQIA community, but this is who we are as San Antonio citizens.
Yes, and it bothers me when people say that, why do they need to have a big event? Why do they need to have a parade? Pride started as a protest to fight for our rights, because we're not asking for special privileges. We're just asking for the same rights as everybody else. Such as, I remember before gay marriage was legal, you had to be you will correct me if I'm wrong. If your partner was sick, you couldn't see them in the hospital because there was no legal connection. You weren't a relative, you were just a friend, and they were very strict about stuff like that. And thankfully, because of marriage equality, that has changed, and it also goes to like health insurance with partners and things.
Well, when we first got together, like, I couldn't buy a car with him as a co-signer. He couldn't buy a car, so you had to have good credit on your own.
Wait,
because
what?
you could buy a car with your neighbor being the co-signer, but we could be living together for 10 years, and he would two same-sex people living together that you couldn't have a co-signer on your loan like that, but you could get your neighbor to co-sign the loan for you.
I never knew that.
Yes. You know, you were asking about Pride Century. One thing I forgot to add is that over the last 23, so we have beneficiaries that we choose every year, and the excess funds of everything that we do gets distributed to the beneficiaries. So this year we had 11 beneficiaries, but over the last 23 years, we have invested nearly $400,000 in the San Antonio community.
Oh, wow.
From starting out in that little bitty thing in front of what's now Sparky's, but used to be the Silver Dollar, to what it is now. So.
But not only investing in the community of the city of San Antonio, but also investing back into the city of San Antonio, because we've done over $12,000 worth of improvements at Crockett Park in the infrastructure of the electrical there, in which many different events have now hosted there, such as Fiesta. We've been having the Jazz Fest, Beer Fest. And the other thing is that it's really a win-win not only for San Antonio as a city, but also for Alamo Community College districts, because this encourages people to park in their parking garage, which raises money for their scholarships. Exactly. So if you can fill up their parking garages, that's $40,000 in one day for them.
I love the events, and I love how visible and accepting it is of all ages for queer events, because I find that it's very important, because when I was younger, I knew I felt these feelings that I liked boys, but there was no language, and if you're raised in a small town like I was, you feel very isolated. And I think that seeing queer joy and seeing that it's normal and that it's okay and that it's not weird or unnatural it gives me hope to have a fulfilled and happy life and not be so like, oh my God, something's wrong with me. And that brings me to the crosswalk, because I know that it was a pilot program, and I love the crosswalk because it shows that not only is everyone accepted, but like it's such a big deal, because this San Antonio is a big city, but in Texas, just ask the pop stars. They treat Austin, they treat Dallas, they treat Houston, and San Antonio's the neglected one. Mm-hmm. And so Dallas got a crosswalk, Houston got a crosswalk. I think our only saving grace is we got it before Austin did.
Right.
And I talk a little bit about that. I remember being there because I think that was the year I was Miss San Antonio Pride.
So with the crosswalk, so we participate in a lot of community parades, and one of them is the DSC States Parade. And so 15 years ago, we were in the DSC States Parade, and right outside of the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center is this really neat artistic bus stop, and it's a giant working porch swing that you could fit 3 people on it. It's as wide as
just like your grandmother's old metal porch swing that you would have.
And so we were we after the parade one year, we sat in that swing and just kind of debriefed after the parade. We thought, this is such a neat little thing to have in the community. You know, we should think about having stuff like this along North Main Avenue, because that neighborhood has got such deep, steeped history in the LGBT community. So we started talking with Diego Bernal and some of the business owners and started creating a plan, and Philip likes to call it Big Fat Dreams. But so because we had all this stuff that we wanted. We wanted to have a fancy bus stop at the corner of Evergreen and Main. Because we used to, back in that day, Peaches was still alive, and Peaches would always be riding the bus there really late at night, and it's just that little, silly little bench or whatever. We thought, oh, wouldn't it be so neat to have a really beautiful bus stop that Peaches could wait on when she would go home or whatever. So we talked the Big Fat Dreams. We talked about from down by where Lulu's used to be in Luby's at what is that down there? That's Euclid. From Euclid, putting in a big giant arch across the street, that entered into the neighborhood, and then coming all the way down Main to Ashby on the other end, have another giant arch that entered from the north end down there, and then along there, having the bus stop, and we wanted to have like lights across the street like they have in Alamo Heights. I do it in Alamo Heights during Christmas, but I thought it'd be cool to have the lights all year long, all the way across, arching across the street all the way down and everything. But Diego Bernal was like, we gotta do it in chunks because the city is not gonna be able to stomach all of that. Not financially, not only that, but just all that queerness was not gonna really be able to work with the city. Eventually, Roberto Trevino came into office in District 1, and he's a design professional. He's an architect, I believe.
Yes.
Right? And so we were talking about these dreams of what we wanted to have down there, and he said, well, in the world of design right now, this one thing that's happening all over the country is they're putting in these artistic, creative crosswalks. We should research that. So we started researching about the crosswalks and stuff, and the city wasn't really into it at the time, so we were talking with Judge Rosie Gonzalez, and she said, well, we need to give them an example. They need to be able to see it, and then maybe they can buy into it later. So she recruited some artists and families, and the artists trained the families about how to use chalk. So they in 2017, they chalked the crosswalk in on all four sides. They chalked in the crosswalk in rainbow colors or whatever, and then everybody could see what it looked like having all that color there. So then finally, between 2017 and 2018, we were able to convince the city to partner up, and so Pride San Antonio paid for 2/3 of it through community fundraisers, Fiesta medals, and different things, and then the city paid for 1/3 of it, and we put all four sides of the crosswalk in there. But the city took it a step further, and this is what makes it critical for today. The city created a law that created the crosswalk, the community crosswalk program, so that other neighborhoods in the city could also do the same thing. They could apply, if you have something that's important for your neighborhood, you can apply to the city, do a fundraising campaign, and if the city approves it, you could have a crosswalk put in your neighborhood or whatever, for whatever reason it was. So a lot of people that are online saying, well, why don't the straight people have a crosswalk? And I tell them, you can have a crosswalk because we created that program with the city that you can apply for it.
We'll put it right
That's why
across
we need to
410.
save this crosswalk. And so the city created a law that established the crosswalk, and so in the past 7.5 years, Pride San Antonio has maintained the crosswalk. Philip and Manuel and a friend of mine, Bonnie, and Autumn Summers, and sometimes Scott Ross from
Heat at the time.
We would go out in the middle of the night because it costs a lot of money to shut down the street, so they would go out in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning to clean the crosswalks. Philip works 2 jobs. So he works all day 8 to 5 for one job, and then he works at night for the other job, but then would still go out and clean the crosswalk in the middle of the night.
And for those of you who are like, no, they didn't, it's all documented because they would always go live. So if you look on the Pride San Antonio page, I believe if you just look back, you can find the videos because y'all would always take pictures and go live.
Right.
So it is very well documented. This is not like, oh, no, they're not.
Yeah, so the first year that was done through those volunteer efforts, when we called it Guardians of the Crosswalk.
The other thing is that we really want to make sure that whenever we as an organization move forward with things, we have to be responsible. James, as a social studies teacher, always will teach his kids not necessarily about who they are, but what they can be, which is good citizens. And that's the one thing that we always strive to tell people is we need to be good citizens as the LGBT community goes, because that's the only way that they're going to see who we really are, because we are San Antonians, we are gay, but we're also good citizens that are moving towards a better San Antonio.
Currently about the crosswalk, what's happening right now is Governor Abbott has all of a sudden, so when the crosswalk was put in 2018, Abbott was governor. He's been governor for the 7.5 years that the crosswalk has been there. Donald Trump was president when the crosswalk was put in, and Donald Trump is president again now. Nobody's ever had a problem with the crosswalk until right now.
As a matter of fact, just I would like to say for history, when the crosswalk was dedicated, do you know who was there at the dedication? Mayor Ron Nierenberg.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And
There was
Ron-
no question about where was the mayor then, because
Yes.
he was there. Yeah,
He was
Ron-
vocal.
He was
He
a huge
spoke.
part of it. Yes.
Ron Nuremberg, for all of his years in office, had always participated in World AIDS Day over
He
at
came
one
to
point.
most of the Pride events. I wanted to say all because probably he did. He came to shows. There was no question with how. Sorry about my rant for a second. There was no question about his stance on the community or who he was supporting. Not because he could be seen as. But that's just, those were his friends and those were his people, and there was never a question. Nobody panned him for it. Nobody said anything about it. Of course, there's probably somebody who was like, oh, he's with the gays. But, like, it
But
was
his
not.
stance was strong and clear.
How long was he in office?
He was in
I
office
think
for
it's
8
two
years.
terms,
He
yeah.
was
Two
in
terms.
office for 8 years. You know how many times I had to yell at that mayor? 0! Sorry.
Well, so speaking of so we've had these No Kings rallies across the country because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, on paper, has term limits, even though he's toying with this idea of a third term. On paper, he is term limited and cannot run again. But in Texas, the Texas Constitution is such a hot mess, and there are no term limits on the governor. So our
Yeah.
governor can be a king, and he's trying to act like one right now. So he basically has said that any crosswalks that are non-standard crosswalks need to be removed, otherwise he's going to withhold TxDOT funds. Now the whole problem with that is that North Main is a city street. It's not a state road. It's not a federal road, and it doesn't, and with TxDOT funds, it's usually put in place for years in advance. So the crosswalk, he said the crosswalk is out of compliance and it needs to go.
Because 35's finished.
Well, the crosswalk is not out of compliance. We have a special crosswalk. The thing about crosswalks is that they have to be consistent. They have to be safe, and they have to be clear and understandable.
And there's a certain width, and if I was doing some research on this, and this is just from memory, it has to be a certain width, and it has to be anything between the parallel lines. Like the Roy Orbison crosswalk was sunglasses, but it was within the parameters of between the parallel
and
lines.
that's another thing. Somebody told me today online. Well, the Buddy Holly. They said Buddy
That
Holly
was my
crosswalk
bad.
got eliminated, so why shouldn't the Pride crosswalk? Okay, Buddy in Lubbock, they removed the Buddy Holly crosswalk without blinking an eye. That's on Lubbock's. That's on their shoulders. I don't know why they did it. They should have resisted, but they didn't. They just immediately did it. But the crosswalk basically is the two parallel lines, like you said, with a blank in between. It's called a transverse crosswalk. It's just the two lines with a walking space in between. But those two lines, it creates like a little box or whatever. So one way of increasing the visibility of those crosswalks is people started inquiring about putting a design inside the crosswalk. And the city manager said, well, ours is out of compliance because it's not the right colors. The manual says that you should have, the manual says it's recommended to have earth tones, mauve and tan and brown or whatever, beige or whatever it is. It recommends that. But if you have a bunch of other traffic stuff going on the street, if you have a turn only lane or a center lane and all these different things going on, or a bus lane, and it's all marked that way, and then you put a decorative crosswalk, it creates a very busy intersection.
Yeah, it's different.
That would be the problem. Our intersection is not like that. We're in a very walkable neighborhood, that it is clear, and the incidences of accidents have actually gone down since the crosswalk has been there.
And
So our crosswalk meets all the safety guidelines, which makes it compliant.
And for the commenters saying that, oh, well, it's a distraction, you're just a bad driver. Because there have been nationwide studies in other states that have shown that accidents have gone down in the areas. As a matter of fact, there is a specific study that was done for the Tobin area that proved that accidents have gone down since the crosswalk has gone in, which is, I need you to understand this because I don't think I can stress this enough. Y'all get it. I understand y'all's frustration. It's in the area we are talking. It is directly, specifically what we are talking about. There is proof that shows that this specific crosswalk in this area has had less accidents and incidents than the surrounding areas. So it's not like, oh, well, it happened in Houston. No, it's the literal thing we're talking about.
And it's about the colors, whether the colors are interfering with other traffic marking. But we don't have traffic markings on the street. So all that's on the street is the rainbow crosswalk, which makes it compliant because it's not interfering with other other traffic markings that are there. Traffic markings, they just don't exist because it's such a small neighborhood, a small intersection, 2 lanes, one coming, one going. And that's the way it is. So that's what makes it compliant, because it's not interfering, and it's safe and not interfering with other things. But they said you could, if you could apply for an exemption. We want the rainbow crosswalks gone, but you could apply for an exemption. Okay, so let's look at that. If it's illegal, why are we talking about an exemption? Just declare it illegal and get rid of it. But that's the whole thing, is that Abbott wants to, he's threatening to put the city in danger if we don't remove the crosswalk, and there's nothing illegal about the crosswalk. And so our city is just folding, because our city needs to stand up and say, we have a law that protects this crosswalk. It's not on a city street. It has nothing to do with TxDOT funding, and it is completely safe and compliant, and we are not going to remove the crosswalk. If the city is not willing to stand up, the way I look at it, I ask the city, if you can't stand up and defend this crosswalk, then at least tell Abbott to come get the crosswalk himself.
We're getting a consolation prize, so the crosswalk's going away. As of now, as it stands, it's
Well, I don't
probably
know.
gonna go.
We're standing up and fighting, so I don't know that
Well,
the crosswalk's
yeah.
going
Well,
away.
but no,
Yeah.
the way that I see it is, if it does go away, they said we're getting sidewalks, 4 blocks. They're gonna fix the broken sidewalks that they should have done in the first place, and we're getting rainbow sidewalks. Is it gonna be long vertical stripes or weird horizontal? I don't know, but I think it's hilarious because instead of standing up for an art piece that already exists, you're going to spend infinitely more money making our cities gay, and it serves you right.
Where did they find
Serves
that money?
you right.
Where did they pull that money?
No,
from?
but it serves them right. If you want to act like cowards and not stand up, and this is specifically for the mayor, because the only reason you didn't support or sign was it the exemption that she needed to sign?
It was the resolution to for our city to take every means necessary to defend the crosswalk.
Yeah, but the only reason she didn't sign or was willing to even have it be on the agenda. I think the reason the mayor won't visit y'all is because she's petty. Because when she was being elected, I believe she wanted y'all to endorse her, which you couldn't, because legally as
Well,
a
we don't do
501c, you cannot do that because y'all are a nonprofit, so you cannot show favoritism. Like the trolley was to help votes for whatever decision they wanted.
Right,
It wasn't
exactly.
like we have to know who you're voting for. She won the election and decided, even though winning was great, but because she wasn't endorsed by a group, she can deliberately pick on it. And this is just my belief, because what she said at the crosswalk the night she came after we called her out is
let me about 4.5 months ago, it was unclear, right, what was gonna happen in our city. For about 4.5 months ago ish, right, with the election. And at that time, when folks had the opportunity to weigh in and make sure our city was well led, those folks stood on the sidelines. Do you remember that? I do. Many in this community were calling them out for not endorsing, not taking steps to make sure that our city, frankly, was well led and would be well led by somebody that cared about the LGBTQ community. Too many were silent. You all know who I'm talking about. So please, spare me the performative politics by some. You know me. You know what I stand for. I want to do this together. I want to do with us together.
which to me is politicians speak for, you didn't support me, why would I help your little crosswalk? Yeah, I'm part of the community, this is payback. And that's what it feels like. And in that same week, didn't her assistant quit and another one of her staff members quit?
There have been some staffing issues in that office.
Lord, so if y'all need a job, the mayor's office is hiring. Have your stuff packed because they've got a quick turnaround. And I think that it is very important. I understand wanting to not be seen as your sexuality because you are so much more, because you are a veteran and you have done a lot, I think, as a council. But I understand not wanting to be labeled, and I can't imagine how hard it is to be in politics as a woman. I can't imagine how hard it is to be in politics as a lesbian, an out queer lesbian. Mm-hmm. But I find the cowardice into not wanting to be seen like you're favoring somebody to be ridiculous, because she never says anything. She implies everything. Everything she's ever said has been an implication. She's never once said something firm other than I support Project Marvel or we need to move the elections, which makes sense. But do you realize how divisive you have to be to make something that makes sense to me? Like the election should be in November. That just makes sense. That should be an easy change. Why would people be against you if that's just something that is easy? Whenever we saw how hard you campaigned for Project Marvel and how hard you campaigned for the election, and literally all you had to do was have a simple meeting. You've got time. You've got to fill your vacancies, but you've got time to have a simple meeting to talk about the crosswalk. And if she would have straight up said, I don't want the crosswalk, I'm not fighting it, I don't think y'all would have, y'all would have been vocal, y'all would have fought, but I don't think it would have been.
It's really the fact that we just wanted to have a meeting to voice our opinion about where we've come as a community.
I appreciate everything y'all have done to fight for the crosswalk and will continue to fight. I agree with you. I don't think that I don't think it's over. I think there's still hope that we might be able to keep everything.
So when the denial came back, so we filed the exemption. We have safe crosswalks. They're very neatly, very orderly designed, and they're properly designed, and they're compatible with everything, and they're compliant. But we filed the exemption. The exemption came back, and this was the denial. It said, San Antonio, we are denying your exemption because your safety statistics did not have evidence that was in a professional sealed engineer's report. So they said, please provide the sealed engineer's report or a decision as to how you're going to remove the crosswalks. That's what they asked us. Now, the city manager and their office had a meeting with city council off the record, no minutes, no nothing, a private meeting, and city council told the city manager's office, just don't even worry about it, just don't even do the report, just let it go. So when they contacted me on the day that it was due, that they had to give this report back to the state, and I said, well, why are you just now telling me? And they said, oh, well, we just didn't get it until just a couple of days ago, and we had to hurry, blah, 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 whatever. And I said, and you couldn't find an engineer's report? And they said, no. Well, I got one today. So I just before coming over here, I emailed in all of city council, I emailed the city manager's office, the city attorney's office, and I said, look, here's where we are. You all said that we needed to let the crosswalks go because we couldn't find an engineer's report, a sealed professional engineer's report that could certify and say these are safe crosswalks. And that's what the state wants from us, to be able to approve our exemption. And whether they approve it or not, we need to at least try and provide that report. So I should have that report in my hands by Friday.
Yeah.
I'm doing what the city should have been doing in order to save these crosswalks.
Well, see, and I thought it was a lot more hopeless than that. I thought there was absolutely no chance. I thought that it was like, no.
The city's taking the road most traveled because it's easier for them, and it's politically expedient for all of the electeds because then they don't have to rub arms with the LGBT that way. They don't have to, because to fight for something like that, you have to have emotion and a passion for the people that you're fighting for. If we just dangle something, and I'm all for progress, the sidewalks, I'm all for that. But the city manager wants me to say that I'm for that and I'm not for the crosswalk, and I refuse to say that.
That's stupid.
Why can't I be both?
Exactly.
And the crosswalk is the center, the anchor of the Pride Cultural Heritage District. People need to realize all of that. The flags, the crosswalk, the Pride Cultural Heritage District, that's a huge accomplishment for our community. City of San Antonio, defend all of that. Defend all of that. It's such a major accomplishment for this underdog city. And if the city did defend all of that, can you imagine how we would shine to the rest of Texas? Look at what San Antonio did. That's a place where I want to be because they stood up for the right side of history. They stood up for people's rights. So where does it stop though? So we changed the name of Durango Boulevard to Cesar Chavez after a civil rights leader. We took out a Confederate statue out of Travis Park. And then we have a DEI office. We have a whole department. It's the city of San Antonio, a DEI department. So if we let the crosswalk go because of this threat, what's going to stop Abbott from coming along and threatening to withhold funds if they don't get rid of the DEI office? What's going to stop him from coming along and saying, you know what, I'm going to withhold funds until you get that civil rights leader, that street being renamed after a civil rights leader? That's political messaging. Rename that street back to Durango or I'm going to take your money away from you. What's going to stop him from saying, you know what, you took that Confederate statue out of Travis Park, it needs to go back in Travis Park or we're going to withhold money from the city. Where does it stop?
And here in the state of Texas, the city of Arlington did away with their protection for the DEI community.
The NDO. So they had a non-discrimination ordinance, which we have also. It's another thing. He could come and say, you know what, non-discrimination ordinances, that's not about equality. I want you to get rid of your non-discrimination ordinance or I'm going to withhold your money. Where does it stop? That's why we have to stand up now for the crosswalk, because the crosswalk is the straw that's going to break the camel's back.
Thank you, James and Philip, for fighting the good fight, and everyone at Pride San Antonio. Honestly, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all that you do, and thank you for having fabulous events. And in the full interview, you can hear about how they refurbished Crockett Park and made it better and built the infrastructure, because gay people help out. As we move into 2026, I want to give my deepest appreciation and thanks to each and every one of you who have supported me over the years. 2025 was a hard year, not just for myself, but I feel like it was hard for everybody. So as we move into 2026, let's lead with kindness and give people grace and try to be nicer to each other. While also standing up for what we believe in. Remember, darlings, register to vote. It is absolutely free. You only got to do it once. If you don't vote or take part in the elections, you can't complain about how things are run or what's happening because you didn't throw your hat in the ring. As far as people who may not be able to vote, well, you're obviously an exception to the rule, but remember, show up. It matters. Be counted. Let your queer, lovely self be shown, and don't let anyone dim your shine. Things might be dark, but remember, darlings, it will always be better. And yes. I love you. Happy New Year's from myself and everyone at Camp Nackte. We love you very much. So goodbye, darlings.